After being battered by a storm of injuries and with many doubting his comeback, Marc Márquez has finally returned to training ahead of the 2026 Italian Grand Prix. The news immediately sent Ducati fans into a frenzy, as many believe the world champion is beginning to show signs of a comeback after surgery and his long recovery process. The atmosphere inside the Ducati garage is even said to be filled with optimism again now that Marc has started pushing the bike ahead of one of the hottest home races of the season. Could this be the sign that the King is truly ready to shake up MotoGP once again and lead Ducati back to glory at the Italian GP? Let's discuss. After disappearing from the MotoGP paddock for a long time due to a serious injury that shocked the racing world, the news fans had been waiting for has finally arrived. Marc Márquez is now showing signs of a comeback. The 8-time world champion has reportedly returned to physical training after spending several weeks focused entirely on recovery following brutal right shoulder and leg injuries suffered in a massive high-side crash some time ago. Even though he has not yet returned to riding a MotoGP bike, this latest update has already reignited excitement throughout the paddock. Marc's return to training is being seen as a strong signal that his condition is slowly improving. Ducati and MotoGP fans are once again beginning to hope they will soon see the aggressive baby alien back battling on the racetrack. As previously reported, Marc suffered a serious accident that caused major problems with his right shoulder once again. The injury raised huge concerns because the recovery process turned out to be more difficult than initially expected. It wasn't only his shoulder that was affected. Marc also suffered issues with his leg, forcing him to miss a significant portion of the season. During his recovery, Marc's physical condition was said to decline drastically. There was even heavy speculation surrounding his future with the Ducati Lenovo Team. Everyone knows Marc Márquez's riding style is extremely aggressive and requires his body to be in perfect condition. Even the slightest issue with his shoulder can immediately impact his performance. But now the situation is starting to change. Marc has reportedly begun a light training program focused on rebuilding strength in his shoulder and right arm muscles. The medical team and physiotherapists are still being extremely cautious, as the right shoulder remains the most sensitive area affected by the injury. That's why Marc's early training sessions have been centered more on muscle strengthening rather than motorcycle riding. The latest reports even claim Marc has started doing light weightlifting exercises to gradually improve shoulder stability. This news immediately relieved fans, as his physical progress is reportedly far more positive compared to a few weeks ago. Several internal team sources have also revealed that Marc's recovery process is moving faster than originally predicted. This situation is certainly huge news for Ducati. During Marc's absence, many fans felt the MotoGP atmosphere was simply different. Marc's presence always brings extra intensity to the track. His fearless, aggressive, and drama-filled riding style makes every race far more exciting to watch. Now, with his physical condition continuing to improve, major speculation is beginning to emerge about a possible Marc Márquez comeback at the 2026 Hungarian MotoGP round at Balaton Park circuit. The race is considered a realistic target for Marc to return to competition after his lengthy recovery process. Even so, Ducati is believed to have no intention of taking unnecessary risks. The team wants to make absolutely sure Marc is truly back to 100% before returning to racing. The pressure in MotoGP this season is incredibly high, and the competition between riders has become more brutal than ever. But one thing is certain: Marc returning to training is already a strong sign that the King is far from finished. MotoGP fans around the world are once again hoping to see Marc Márquez reignite the fierce rivalries on the track. Not only that, the latest reports from inside Ducati also say that the atmosphere in the garage has started to become optimistic again as Marc Márquez's condition continues to improve. Several Ducati crew members are even reportedly preparing special bike setup simulations that will later be adjusted to Marc's physical condition after his comeback. This is important because Marc's extremely aggressive riding style requires a bike with a very stable front end, so it does not put excessive pressure on his right shoulder. On the other hand, Ducati's rivals have reportedly started to become cautious about the possible return of the world champion. Many believe that if Marc manages to come back close to his best form, the entire MotoGP 2026 title battle could change completely. Especially since before the injury, Marc had already shown incredible speed and was considered one of Ducati's fastest riders this season. What makes it even more interesting is that rumours in the paddock are heating up after several MotoGP analysts claimed Marc could undergo a private test very soon. The test is reportedly intended to evaluate how strong Marc's shoulder and leg are when dealing with the extreme physical demands of a MotoGP prototype bike again. If the results are positive, the possibility of a comeback at the Hungarian GP could become much more realistic. This news has, of course, made the fans even more excited and impatient. Social media immediately exploded with messages of support for Marc. Many believe that the return of the baby alien would bring the 2026 season back to life after the last few races seemed to be missing one of MotoGP's biggest icons. Even several former riders have started speaking publicly about Marc's recovery process. They believe Marc Márquez has one of the strongest mentalities in MotoGP history. Not every rider can bounce back after suffering multiple serious injuries, but Marc has always managed to return and prove that he is far from finished. However, bad news has now arrived from the Gresini racing camp. Marc Márquez's younger brother, Alex Marquez, has officially been ruled out of the Italian MotoGP round after his physical condition was deemed unfit for racing. The news immediately shocked the paddock because Alex had previously been expected to compete in order to maintain his chances in the 2026 championship standings. According to internal team reports, Alex is still suffering from injury effects that continue to bother him after the heavy incident he experienced in the previous race. His hand and shoulder areas are reportedly not fully recovered yet, which ultimately led the medical team to recommend that Alex should not take major risks at the Mugello circuit. That decision is certainly a huge blow for Gresini Racing. This season, Alex has been performing consistently and several times managed to put serious pressure on the factory riders. Before the injury, his performances were even considered among the most surprising on the 2026 MotoGP grid. Alex Marquez's absence has also saddened many fans because the intense Marquez brothers rivalry was one of the most anticipated storylines this season. Especially now that Marc's condition is starting to improve and his comeback chances are becoming more realistic, Alex is instead forced to sit out because of injury problems. This situation once again puts the Marquez family through a difficult period. After Marc previously had to undergo a long recovery from a serious injury, Alex must now fully focus on his own recovery process to avoid an even worse injury in the future. Even so, Gresini Racing has confirmed that Alex will still accompany the team from the paddock. In your opinion, will Marc Márquez's comeback really change the MotoGP 2026 title battle and bring Ducati back to dominance? Write your thoughts in the comments section.